ways. Randy Eman journeyed into Satan's world, hoping to stop Ramirez and others like him. His mission earned him the nickname Satan Sleuth. He spends his time tracking Satan lovers, those who have sold their souls to the devil. Inside Reports' Dan Housley takes us into the demonic world of the Night Stalker and the man who followed Ramirez into its living hell.
The Night Stalker. To many, he is the devil on earth. For 4 years, Richard Ramirez, a Satan worshiper, held Southern California in a grip of terror. He looked evil. He did evil things. Ramirez shot or slashed or raped his randomly picked victims, then carried out strange rituals of blood, sex, and sacrifice. Ramirez would leave satanic symbols at the scenes of his ghastly crimes. Finally, more than 40 crimes, including 13 murders later, the Night Stalker was caught. Unrepentant, he flashed the Satanist sign of the pentagram at one of his court hearings. Just last month, Richard Ramirez was convicted. The jury recommended he die in California's gas chamber. But this case is more than just another chapter in California's horror stories. Richard Ramirez woke up the world of law enforcement. Woke them up to what they're now calling the crime of the future, satanic crime.
Back in 1985, good old Richard Ramirez was the one who seemed to fuel that interest.
Police Sergeant Randy Eman of the Baldwin Hills, California Police Department teaches fellow officers about Satanism and the wicked acts of some of its followers.
He had a decomposing goose's wing on here with candle wax all over it, some of the other things on the table over there. And he was like this, dripping blood off of his nose all over this.
Eman says more and more police are investigating crimes that are done in the name of Satan. Crimes that range from graffiti, vandalism, and animal mutilation to pornography, child abuse, cannibalism, and murder.
There is no doubt in my mind that there are adults in the United States of America and abroad, not just the United States, abroad, who are participating in blood rituals, blood drinking, mixing of urine with blood, eating of feces, eating of animal parts, who are taking it one step further and committing human sacrifices. It was over that way.
It was just about sunset on the high desert of Southern California when Sergeant Eman took our inside report crew to the actual location of an occult ritual he recently investigated, where this pile of bones was found.
We found inside a circle charred animal hairs from animals, bones, and what's even more interesting is a series of tennis shoes, all from the left shoe of appeared to be young teenagers, different brands, different colors, different sizes, and what's even more interesting is no shoelaces on any of the shoes, only left shoes. It appeared to us that they were probably involved in some type of ritual or initiation, and the individuals removed the tennis shoe to show allegiance to their cult leader or Satan.
Eman says satanic crime is one of the hardest types of crime to investigate. Many of the cops at his seminar say they often feel their hands are tied. They know a crime has been committed, but most of the time, no body is found.
They did sacrifice little babies. Often what they would do is they would have the people within the cult have the children, and then once the baby was born, they would sacrifice the baby there. That way they didn't have any records or anything of the baby being born, because they would do it all within the cult.
In order to communicate with Satan through his, what he calls, gatekeeper, they have to engage in a ritualistic Sabbath somewhere up in the valley, and they partake with 13 people.
As part of his lecture, Eman uses a video that can be rented at most home video stores. The film dramatizes a satanic blood ritual.
By the way, if you want to rent this, it's a couple of bucks at any local video store. The concern that I think all of us have is, let's say that it has been staged. There's nothing wrong with that. What about the kid that sees this and figures, well, I'm going to go do the same thing?
Eman says children are often the victims of Satanists. This 17-year-old boy he interviewed claims to have been present at a human sacrifice when he was only 6 years old. We have hidden his face because the young man now fears retaliation.
And he turned around, the knife around him, and He stabbed her right in the middle of her chest.
Eamon says he will continue to be a Satan sleuth. This despite the fact that since he began his investigations and lectures on devil-related crimes, strange, unexplained things have happened to him and to his children.
My oldest son, I would have to say, was attacked, for lack of better words. He was in his bed, and he told me a year later he felt like something was inside him tearing him up. And he literally had his hands in front of him, reaching toward the ceiling, and had silver-dollared eyes, saying, "Get away, get away." 5 minutes later, my younger son was in the lower bunk bed, and I'm downstairs, and I hear this quiet little voice call for Pop. So I go upstairs and say, "Well, what's wrong, Chris?" And he's looking at me, he's looking through me, and he said, "Daddy, I can't see." I mean, just the lights on, nobody's home. And he was blind for about 5 minutes. I know law enforcement, the cops hear this and think I'm nuts. But I found a pentagram about this big in my carpet, almost like someone had etched their finger. I stepped on it, and it wouldn't go away. So these are just some of the things that do go with the territory, but you don't need to fear it either. The problem is I suggest to law enforcement, don't bring any of this material in your home. Just keep it out of the home, and you won't bring this stuff in with you.
Can you imagine something like that happening to you? Well, as for the Night Stalker, he is set to be sentenced in Los Angeles tomorrow. Not that he's going to lose any sleep over it. Last month when the jury recommended that he die in the gas chamber, Ramirez snarled, "Big deal. Death comes with the territory. See you in Disneyland."